Hello together, welcome to our next Wow How show today. Today our next topic is basically thermal management systems and air conditioning systems from today and tomorrow. My name is Stephan Weber. Let me please introduce Andreas Lamm. He is a trainer from the Würth Academy.
But in Germany.
But in Germany, you're right.
Sorry when my English is not so well, but I try my best. Come on.
Okay, perfect. Andreas, nice to have you here today. Thank you very much for making the time and to share some information regarding the AC systems which we are having today in the workshops to repair, to service, and that kind of things. And on the other hand, we want to talk today about the new thermal management systems from electrical cars, for instance, which are more and more coming into the market. Could you give us some figures, basically, how many electrical cars we've got in the market right now? Is it a topic which is actual? Is it coming only tomorrow or the day after?
So before you start with the electrical cars, I think we should start with cars today. And I think that's very important that we give the information that the car market is changing. Not only that we get electrical cars, it's changing 10 years before, because the air conditioning system, what we had in the past time, we have only some problems that we have the losing of the refrigerant over the years. But that is changing, because in the past time, the quality of the connections was not so good. We have more rubber with the pipes, and therefore the leaking rate was bigger. Since 2010, I say roundabout, we have a EU directive, and in the EU directive 2006/40 EG is so that the losing of the refrigerant must be reduced until under 40 grams refrigerant per year with one operator, under 60 grams with two evaporators per year. And most of the car manufacturers have reduced it more than what they have limited. So the other thing is we have a light weight construction.
Lightweight construction from components. Okay.
Yeah, from components, yes.
Okay.
And that's a problem today. If I see a condenser from the old cars, from BMW E39 or a Mercedes-Benz W124, there is a condenser which is from the size so big and the material was really thick. So it's not damaged, it's not leaking.
So basically there was no stone chips like
yes.
our days now.
And now I have here the condenser, what we have now in the cars since 2010. If I look into the condenser of today, the material is so thin that I say if someone is driving in the winter, they're coming the salt and everything, it's oxidized. What's
corrosion, basically?
Corrosion, yeah. It's corrosion, and we have a lot of problems that it's not leaking over the year. We have a total leaking rate because the whole refrigerant is losing, and this happened. The car is new. It's happened sometimes after 3-4 years. Very often. Then we have not a service, filling of a service of the air conditioning system. What you have is a repairing of the system, and I think it's changing from the service to the repairing. Another thing is also we have more problems with compressors. I have here a modern compressor, or it's not a modern compressor, but the default one. If I'm looking to the old cars, when then you have a problem sometimes with the magnetic clutch. That was all.
That was more or less the same thing. So I'm myself come from a big German manufacturer, and I worked in the workshop myself. So the only problems you got with a compressor was, yes, as you mentioned, just the clutch.
Yeah.
All the other things are or were very reliable, including the condenser. And I saw right now in the condenser included there is, for instance, the filter dryer as well.
Yeah.
So everything is getting more and more compact.
Yeah.
And yeah, it has to take the same stress like in the 80s, but it's more compact, it's lightweight, it's more critical to corrosion and such kind of things. So what you are talking about is that basically, yeah, the workshop jobs has to change, or is changing basically away from the servicing part because of the less refrigerant leakage, standard leakage.
Yeah.
Basically, it's more turning towards the repair and the maintenance of the whole system.
Yes, and
Okay.
that's the thing. And the next thing is with the compressor. If you see it too, we have different causes why the compressor is broken. So you have to look before you repair or you exchange the component. You have to look why the compressor is default, and you have to flush the system because we have a lot of problems when we have not the right amount of oil in the system, and we have problems when some other ingredients in the system, and it's not only refrigerant, and the original oil is I say too much UV dye. Especially I have here some glasses where you can see when it's too much UV dye in the system, then you get problems with the compressor, with a modern compressor. The old one, with the magnetic clutch hits, where we say clutch on, clutch off, clutch on, clutch off, that's not the problem. They suck the dirt and press it out. But the modern, the variable compressors, they have problems because everything will stopfen. What's the name in English for stopfen?
It's a clog up, basically.
Clock. It's the clock.
The small pipes and
small pipes
valves
inside,
and that kind of things.
and so the regulation is not working anymore, and that's the problem what we have today.
So in terms of the compressors, there's everything changed as well. So regarding the clutch, you mentioned many times right now. So that was basically the old system. It's just the on and off. So it's a zero power and 100% power, and it's going on and off. And the modern compressors, they are working the whole time, basically, having an electronical system in, talking about the internal of the compressor, but this compressor is running all the time, and so the size of the volumes of the aircon systems is getting smaller and smaller. So meaning less refrigerant, meaning less oil amount, means some other add-ons like UV dye, for instance, which is good. But the one thing is the good. We have the right amount in, but if you've got too much UV dye in, you're going to cause problems for the compressor.
Yes.
So that leads basically into more and more problems with the compressors nowadays now.
Yes, and therefore more problems with the air conditioning system for all. And so, and if you look further in the future, then that's what we say. Everything is changing at the moment, and through Corona, we have a lot of change in Europe.
Absolutely.
And I have a slide here for us because it's very interesting. The slides shows you that's the new cars registration in Germany from September this year. And in September this year, it's the first time that the electrical vehicles are more registered than the diesel vehicles. And that's a total change because we have in Germany what's Förderung, they got in the English.
They subsidize the German government,
Yes,
or European government is subsidizing basically if you are going into the electrical vehicles, in the full hybrid vehicles.
Yes.
So you've got basically an amount of money which you can invest, and you get it from the government. Yeah.
And for the future means that everything is changing, because the new cars, especially the electric cars, you should know, if you have a plug-in vehicle or electrical car, you have not the heat of the engine, of the diesel or the gasoline engine. So, but you must heat your cabin, and so you can do it with a electrical water heater, but that's not efficient enough. Better is, and that's very important, because you need the range, and for the efficient is better the heat pump. And so at the moment, the electrical car manufacturer change the air conditioning system from this from only cooling to heating. So the system will be more complicated. We have more waves inside, and so more problems for the future with this system. Another thing is, you need also the air conditioning system, not only for cooling the cabin, you must cooling also the battery, the electrical motor, the
control units,
and so on and so on. So in the past time was the air conditioning system a system for nice to have, but if it's broken, you can drive. Not a problem.
It's a little bit hot inside the car, but anyways, you still can drive. Yeah.
Yes, but in the future, with the new cars, with the modern cars, the air conditioning system or the heat pump is I must-have product. If this broken, the car is also broken, and therefore I say this is a very important market for the future, for the garages, for the workshops.
Absolutely. So we are not talking in future for AC systems anymore. We talk more about thermal management systems.
Yes.
If I try to describe it, to describe it somehow, it's a thermal management system. So it's for cooling the cabin, like in the older days as well, but it's for heating of the cabin, because we need to have much more power inside the batteries, which is the main challenge for all the manufacturers right now, to extend the range, the range of the cars, because of it's not just like driving to the gas station and filling up in 10 minutes. So the modern vehicles, you can load up 80% in 45 minutes, but it's time consuming. So the manufacturers now try basically to make it more and more efficient, and that's the reason they are coming up with heat pumps instead of electrical heating systems.
And the systems are very complex, and if you look to the many of waves and small pumps what you have inside, and then I know that this will be broken in the future. And if you look to electrical motor engine, what happened on this electrical motor? Nothing. But this thermal system, that will be bring the problems in the workshop.
And you mentioned it before, if the thermal management system fails, the car stops. So it's not about a comfort zone or something like that. It's just plain standing around, and you can't drive it anymore because of the control system doesn't work and such kind of things. Okay. What could we do to support our customers in specifically that way? So most of our customers are dealing right now with standard vehicles, let's put it in that way. More and more the electrical vehicles and the hybrid vehicles coming in. But I think there is another challenge for our workshops to get more and more into the systems.
Yeah, we start here at Würth Academy next year with new trainings about the thermal systems. We call it in thermospezialist, or
thermal management specialized, basically.
Yes. And because it's not only cooling anymore, it's heating also. And we start in 4 trainings. the first training is for diagnosis, to work with the gauges of the service station. What is the gauge? What are the gauges tell to me when the AC system is not working well? What can we, how we can find the mistakes in the system? And that's the first day. The second day, what we make is the thing with the compressor. When the compressor is default, what are the causes of the default? How to flush the system? What have we do during when we are flush the system? And the third day is for the electric of the automatic system, how they are working.
Okay, meaning that we are talking about not only about air conditioning service units, which we are producing and manufacturing since 2017 now in Italy with our subsidy. Within our group, I can see now the diagnostic tool as well, which is getting more and more important for the more complex systems, which we have today already in the market. In the future, they will fail basically. I mean, that's clear. There will be problems. To be able to diagnose this, you need a diagnostic tool as well. So it's now, it's more and more closer getting together. It's not only the AC service unit anymore.
That's true. And the last training what we are offer next year is 1 day for only for thermal systems and heat pumps. And there we are looking how the new systems are working, what you have to look. There are different ways to roam, and we are discussing what are the possibilities to for the cooling or for the heating and so on. What the different manufacturers are, the solutions, what they have, and what kind of components we get new, where you have to look and how to repair it.
Sounds quite interesting to me, and I know now out of my experience, because that's where we joined the first time together, and the F-gas certificate. That's one of the things you're doing as well.
Yes, that's my main training, but hopefully we can say in the next years, I can, believe me or not, but the thermal system or the air conditioning system would be one of the main important works in the garage.
Yeah, and to be honest, I think there is the most revenue in to generate turnover if you are specialized on thermal management systems and you know what you're doing about and how to repair it and to service it and how to diagnose it. I think you are on top of the field, and if you make your, in Germany we would say your name into the business, you know, if you are well known in the business, then I think you will be one of the first ones you get asked if there's something wrong with the system. So you are specialized, like thermal specialized, for instance.
Correctly. Yeah.
That sounds really, really good to me. Amazing. What about the flushing? You mentioned the flushing. Is there anything special with that flushing of the AC system?
Yes, you must know what you have to do and how to do it. That's really important. A lot of people knows that they must flush the system. They know it, but how to do it? Who's doing really in the workshop? But you can earn money with flushing of systems. And the most garages throw the money away because they don't do it. But then they have problems. They have warranty problems and so on and so on. And we train it in training how to do it correctly and what you have to look because some cars you have to do this, in some cars you have to do that, and it's different of the system.
Okay, so it's not only about to changing, for instance, the compressor if it fails. So it's to localize basically where does the problem comes from.
Yes.
Otherwise, you're going to run in problems again, because the compressor will work basically probably half a year, maybe 1.5 years. But if the compressor fails afterwards, okay, next compressor. But The problem was now the compressor failed. Yes, there was a problem. Yes, the compressor was changed. Yes, as well. But the problem, the issue wasn't solved.
Yes, correctly.
So that's what I understand. And regarding the thermal specialized, you mentioned, and we talked about now, you mentioned basically 4 different parts or modules, if I could call it like this one. Could I take as a customer one module because I'm experienced in, for instance, diagnosis and such kind of things, but I'm not at all experienced in flushing the AC system?
We say it's the one module is building up on the next model, but you can say also I take only one model because that's interesting for me. When you want to know something about flushing, then you book the training for the flushing. Later you can do the other models. It's not, but would be nice when you make all trainings, but you can say also you can decide I want to take only yet now one training.
So it's my own choice basically. So
yes.
to choose which modules are interesting for me, and so I can book just model 2 or 4 or whatsoever.
Yes.
Okay.
Whatever. Yes.
Thank you very much. I'm looking forward to this, to join you during this training as well.
Okay.
Andreas, thank you very much for your time. It was a pleasure to have you here, and thanks for your time and energy. Thank you for your participating in front of your monitor. Thank you very much. Have a good one. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.